Keep talking.
Oh,
We're good.
okay. We're good.
I think so.
Yeah. We're going through some changes. Uh,
We're having.
all
Oh, now
right.
I think we're in business
I
now.
think we are, even though it jumped 4 seconds ahead. That means 4 seconds cost to the Vinny Mac Show.
Well, we did
Uh,
this wonderful show while you were all waiting for us. In fact, you probably saw seconds of us at a
yes,
time doing nothing,
that's right.
which is
Doing nothing.
which is actually what I do better than anything. Nothing.
So,
You gotta
without
get your hump.
further ado, there I
Yeah,
am. Yeah.
yeah. At the top of your head.
Yeah, it's like I don't want my head to be topped off. So like,
Yeah.
oh, my head's cropped off. Like, oh no, you don't want that.
No. No.
Yes. Tonight, we're going to have two people on tonight's show. For two people who's going to try to win $100,000 in cash. Or name that tune.
Wait a minute.
Huh?
100,000 in cash.
Yeah.
I quit. I want to be a contestant. I don't want to. I know relatives and members of the crew cannot vie for that 100,000. But I could use those 100,000.
Oh yeah, so could I. Trust
Everyone
me.
in this pandemic.
Yes, everybody could use $100,000 in cash, but you must play Name That Too with Tom Kennedy.
Do you remember that show? That was
Yes,
a wonderful show.
love
I at that when I was a kid, I watched Name That Tune,
it.
and I didn't know any of the songs.
Neither did I.
And now you watch maybe reruns of that show. I know
Uh,
all the songs. But then I'll watch a show like there's certain like game shows I think on the Fox network where they actually want you to know certain popular songs that are popular now or the last
uh-huh.
5 years.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know any of
No,
those.
neither do I. I completely fail.
I know Taylor Swift is, and I know Miley
Yeah,
Cyrus is, but I can't
yeah.
tell you any of their songs.
Maybe Drake.
I know. I mean,
Maybe.
I know these people,
Yeah.
and I like them when I see them on Saturday Night
Uh-huh.
Live or their videos or something. But then don't ask me to buy one of their
No,
albums.
no, no. I tell
Buy
you,
one of their LPs.
like Taylor Swift could probably sing a song right in front of me, and she says, "What's that song for $100,000 in cash?" And I'll be telling Taylor, "Well, I'm sorry, I don't know your song, but can you take me out on a date?"
Like the date or
It's like,
money.
yeah.
Actually, isn't Taylor is single now?
Yes, yes, she is single. So
I think.
Taylor, if you're watching,
I had an affair with Taylor Swift.
oh,
A lot of
nice.
people don't know that. In fact, not only do people not know that,
Uh huh.
but she was so devastated
Uh huh.
by the affair we had,
Uh-huh.
she refuses to write a song about it,
Oh, how dare
which is
you!
awful because she writes songs about all her ex-boyfriends.
Yeah.
What's the
How
matter with you?
dare you, Taylor?
Welcome to the Vinny Mac Show.
Yes, welcome to the Vinny Mac
We haven't had a
Show.
show in a while,
Woo!
but we're back
Yep,
for number three.
number three.
I do a show with a few people, and one guy I do it with, Keith Van Allen,
Mhm.
actually makes a title for each show. But I always
Oh,
say don't, and he actually thinks of a title before the show starts, and I
oh.
actually say to him, no, do the show, then think of a title because I mean if I called the show Chicken and Waffles or
Uh-huh.
something, and then we never talk about chicken and
Yeah,
waffles, there's no then what's going
I
on?
know what's
But if
going
that's
on.
all we talk about, then we can call it
Yeah,
a chicken and waffle
chicken
show.
and waffle show. Chicken, waffles, maybe a little bit of other things on the side, but that's a good combo.
Yes, yes.
But tonight's show, as always, is sponsored by Skunk Soap Remover. Yes, give it all them skunks in your life, and you know all you people out there on the internet, you know what we're talking about. Give it all them skunks in your life, get that Skunk Soap Remover. And once again, we have trimmed all the fat off our show.
Really?
So yes, we
I
have.
thought it was all fat.
You know what? It might be 100% fat. You're
If you
right.
wait, if you trimmed all the fat off any show I do, it'd basically be like a minute and a half. I am, in fact, I get in trouble with this almost every job I've ever had.
Uh-huh.
Is that you can make a 2 hour shift seem like 5 hours.
How can you do something like that?
I should be working at the Academy Awards because I take a
Yes.
2 hour of great entertainment and stretch it out to
Let's
five
stretch
hours.
out to 5 hours. Make people sit there for 5 hours. But, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a new sponsor tonight. Yes,
Another one.
another one. A new sponsor called Trim Fat. So, Trim Fat and all the people out there in the internet, they know about Trim Fat. If you want to get rid of some fat things in your life, you use Trim Fat, and that will very much help you out. I guarantee you, our listeners, they know what Trim Fat is all about. And you know what's really shocking? I looked at the first video that we did, and
The first one we did.
the first one we did, week number
20
one.
years ago?
Yeah, no, not that far back. But the first
I
one
had
we
more
did,
hair.
more hair, and I have more beard.
You had more beard. We haven't changed.
No, we haven't changed much.
I haven't changed much, is right.
Yeah.
Haven't improved in the least. No, no, tell me. So tell me.
I'm surprised we got over 100 views.
100.
100 views. I figured out the first time that we started this show, I was thinking maybe we only get maybe 2 views, and it would only just be us two. We
You know,
got our own
we
stuff.
we charged $1 for every one of those views.
Yeah,
We'd have $100.
yeah, that's not bad. Bill Gates does it that way.
$100 that I don't have right now.
I know. But hey, I thank each and every one of you for joining in on the Vinny Mac Show along with good old Kaye Lazar here. Yes, every week we will try to, or whenever we get on the air, we'll try to entertain you as best as possible. But yeah, I noticed some of the
Our best is best good enough.
yeah, our best is good enough. It may be on a downward slope from here, but we try our best.
We'll march it.
Yeah, we'll march on through. But
Yeah.
yeah, I noticed a lot of the comments were coming in from a
I
lot
never
of
read the comments.
You never read the comments?
Never read the
Never.
I tell you why, because and this
Uh-huh.
is true.
Uh-huh.
You read the comments, you start to believe the comments. Oh, maybe I should comb my hair this way. If one guy doesn't like it, this
Yeah, yeah.
one guy living in his parents' basement doesn't like it. So yeah,
Oh, no, you must have read the comment I gave you.
Oh, oh, that was the one.
Yeah, yeah.
That was the one. No, I never read the. Now tell me what the comments you've read.
Well,
What I mean, what stood out?
well, what stood out was like some of the people that really enjoy our show, and I thank all the people who really do enjoy it, even though we're terrible at service, but we try our best.
Service?
Yes.
What? We work at McDonald's or something? What do you
Yeah,
call that
pretty
service?
much. This show is pretty much McDonald's. We try to give you a good service, but we're not going to give you your cash back, just like McDonald's.
Yeah, but no one ever goes broke eating at McDonald's. There, with that what's that strawberry shake?
Yeah, yeah.
The they have a green shake.
The Shamrock Shake.
Yeah, what's that all
I
about?
don't know. That looks
So I
like
never eat fast food, so
you lucky.
I don't I that's how I keep so young looking. A lot of people don't notice I'm 86 years old. I've been
Oh,
around a long time.
congratulations.
You know, so I actually lied about my age. I told people I was 34. They say you look like hell for 34. Now I tell people I'm 86, and they say, wow.
Oh wow, you look wonderful. Yes. You could be posted up there on Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Now, oh, have you ever been to Mount Rushmore?
I never have.
That's the only part of America. Like you, we're good, great travelers. That's the only part of America I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so I actually met a guy. I worked with a guy a few years ago, and he told me he was at Mount Rushmore, and so I
Okay.
wanted to know all about Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
And he told me that it's a headache getting there. First, you have to take a plane to like South Dakota, then you have to, and then you have to rent a car, and then you have to get a Sherpa to take you up a mountain to over a couple of mountains, and sheepdogs and everything, and then a dinner rod, and then finally you see Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, finally.
And whenever you see a big shot like Donald Trump at Mount Rushmore, a helicopter brought him, so he didn't have to
I know
do all that.
He didn't have to do all
Yeah.
that. For me, yeah, I had to get my burro, put some axes and picks on there, climb on up to the mountain. Oh, there it is, Mount Rushmore. My vacation is complete after 3 days of trying to get up there.
The funniest joke I ever heard was someone. I remember a teacher was telling some kid. You know how teachers were in my day. They would say, and they were insulting the kid. And one teacher told the kid, he goes, "You're so stupid,
Uh-huh.
Johnny. that that you probably think that Mount Rushmore is a natural phenomenon. So
Oh, that's messed
so there
up.
there's a test you could take.
Uh-huh.
Um, as a test that you take to get a job,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of times they ask you these uh, spatial sort of oblique, sort of weird questions
Uh-huh.
that don't really have a right or wrong answer. They just want to know how you answer them.
What?
Okay, now this is one of the questions they ask,
Okay, let's see
and
if
you're
I can get
gonna
it.
see
All
how.
right.
I want to see how you
All
do
right.
on
All
it.
right.
Okay, you're the president of the United States,
Yes.
and a nuclear missile is coming to America.
Okay.
Now, it's going to land in America and probably destroy a state or a major city in a
Ooh.
state or somewhere in a state.
Okay.
Because you have to divert it somewhere.
Uh-huh.
You know, there's the big cities like New York and San Francisco, places like that. You
Uh-huh.
shouldn't you try to divert it from there.
Uh-huh.
Where what where would you send it?
Oh my
And
goodness.
there's no right or wrong answer to this. They just want to know how you answer it. There
Okay.
is actually a really good answer for it. So you
Ah,
see what you know.
let's see. So that means I can have the use of Superman.
You have the use of not Superman. So if you had Superman, he'd probably destroy it up in space. You wouldn't
Yeah.
have to worry about it. You'd probably send it to one of the stars or something, and no one would even notice it. But if it has to come to America,
Uh-huh.
and you have to kind of divert it somewhere. And
Ooh.
I I thought the Great Lakes or somewhere would be a good place.
Oh yeah,
But
the
I
Great
mean,
Lakes.
like where it wouldn't, you know, you kill a lot of fish, but that would be
Yeah.
about it. But
Ah,
that's not the answer.
that's not the answer.
No, or that's not the good answer.
That's not the good answer. I would say the Gulf of Mexico.
Government. Well, actually, it's land.
Oh, it has to be
It has to be
land.
land. Yeah.
Oh, then Death
I think
Valley.
once they told me
Huh?
that Great Lakes is not an answer,
Oh,
then it's a land thing.
oh, that's easy. Death Valley.
Actually, that's a good idea. Death
Mhm.
Valley. Only trouble with Death Valley is it's too close to a lot of major places and
That's
they cause a lot
true.
of fallout,
Yeah.
nuclear fallout. They actually said this is a really good answer.
Uh-huh.
Is that they said North Dakota because there's only like a few 100,000 people living there. You could
Yeah.
probably in time get them all out of there before it lands
Uh-huh.
and resettle. I'm not resettle, but at least get them out of there and then it'll
Uh-huh.
land and then won't really destroy a lot of population there because it's all like vast desert
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
mountains
Yeah.
in North Dakota.
Yeah.
And the reason
Um.
why they said South Dakota is a good answer too, but South Dakota has Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
It's a Dakota with Mount Rushmore. So you don't want to send it there. So North Dakota is the answer. But you never answer that question as South North Dakota if you're actually living in North Dakota. So you
Yeah.
never mention the state you're actually living in. So that's the here's another there's another the only other question I know on there. See if you know this.
Okay.
How okay and you may not know this. I didn't know this,
Okay.
but
All
I'm
right.
gonna you imagine how
All right.
are M&Ms made?
M&Ms, how M&Ms are made. The only
Yeah.
thing I know is that you get some chocolate and you put an outer shell and you stamp that M on it, M&M.
Well, I mean, that's how they are, but
Uh-huh.
how are they made?
How are they made?
Yeah. I mean, do you have any concept of how the process is, you know?
Well, I think the only thing I would say is they get a big glob of chocolate. They
Yeah.
process it through a machine.
Okay.
They got the little stamper holes in it,
Yes.
and they've got like maybe 1,000 holes.
Yes.
And then they send it through a coating process,
Yeah.
and then put the coats.
That is exactly how it's done. What they do is they have a big block of chocolate, or I
Uh-huh.
mean, it's like a constant, like maybe a whole long thing,
Uh-huh.
and this thing comes and just tears it up in this little small circles and
Yeah.
everything that M&Ms are, and then this is where it gets interesting.
Uh-huh.
They send it to what looks like the inside of a giant washing machine, and
Ooh.
it just spread it around, and then it's
Okay.
all spinning around and
Uh-huh.
all flying around, and they're shooting it with a liquid coating, red or blue or whatever colors are green, and then it hardens,
Uh-huh.
and that's how M&Ms are made. But
Nice.
I mean nobody really, unless you see a little factory
Uh-huh.
documentary about it, that they want you to they want this thing. Well, how does this process happen,
Uh-huh.
and perhaps we should hire you at our company because you're an innovator and an engineer.
Yes, I'm
And
an engineer.
what's the word? Imagineer.
Imagineer,
As they say
yes.
at Disney World.
How much does that pay?
It is. As long as it keeps a roof over your head and wheels under your
Well,
to get to the next place.
well, knowing some guy, he'll probably say it pays in imaginary bucks.
It's magic. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've had that job.
Oh.
I had a job once where they paid you in blue ribbons and trophies,
Oh.
meaning that you are our best employee. Here's a blue ribbon. Here's a trophy. And I said, that's nice.
Yeah.
Can I get like a $2 raise, $3 raise? I once got an award at a place, and you're gonna love this. I got an award at a place, and it was a very distinctive award for working at this place. I'm not
Uh-huh.
gonna mention one of those. You may know it. And what happened was they actually said, uh, uh, you will give you a medal, and
Okay.
that was great.
Uh-huh.
And they had a ceremony and everything.
Mhm.
So I said to the president of the company, because he thought a lot of me. I
Uh-huh.
said to him, now this gets me. I also get a TV set or a wristwatch out of this. No, you don't get that. I said, do I get
Oh.
like a free dinner at the cafeteria? I said, no. Do I get like a 10% off coupon for the cap? He goes, no, you don't get anything but the medal.
Oh.
They actually told me this. I'm not kidding you. They actually told me this. They said the it's not a we think of it as a high distinction as you got this medal.
Uh-huh.
Think of it not so much as being paid for anything. Think of it as like being knighted. You're basically knighted in this company.
Oh, come on.
So I could put Sir before my name, Sir Kevin. Sir Kevin a gullible.
Sir Kevin.
but no, but I mean, it's nice getting the medal, but
Yeah.
at the same time, and they think highly of me, but yeah, I could have done with more than a medal.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think I could have done more with than a
It looks good
medal.
on my resume.
Yeah.
My resume is already a pack of lies. What do I need?
Well, please, whatever you do, don't look at mine. I put down a whole bunch of things on
Oh
there
yeah.
that
Whether you could ride a horse,
yeah.
you could do ballroom dancing.
Yeah.
Like on acting resumes, you put all that stuff
Yes,
on.
I do.
Oh yeah.
I can ride a horse. I can do ballroom dancing. I can do the
Yeah, I
waltz.
mean, you do, because you think, oh, well, they evidently need somebody. I'll learn it before them.
Yeah.
One thing they also put on Love Acting if you're in a movie, can you fence, parry,
Yeah.
and joust?
Joust.
Which,
Okay. Chop, 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 chop.
believe it or not, my dad can do.
Ooh. Oh my
But he
goodness.
took fencing lessons in New York.
Uh-huh.
Hey, there's a funny story about his fencing.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this. He used to fence with this guy in New York in the 1950s,
Uh-huh.
and the only thing he knew about this guy was he had a famous wife. His wife was a movie star called Nina Foch.
I heard of her.
Okay,
Okay.
yeah, she's in the Ten Commandments, and she's a popular
Ah,
actress in the time
yes,
in the
yes.
1950s.
Okay.
This guy wasn't famous. I think he
Uh-huh.
was just a teacher or a producer or something. He was just a low level guy.
Mm-hmm.
So then years later, there was a show on he just died like last year. There was a show called Inside the Actor Studio with James
Yes.
Lipton,
Yes.
and James Lipton gave an interview and he said, and I know how to fence, and I used to be married to Nina Foch, and my dad said, I knew there was something about that guy that was familiar. That was my dad used to fence with that guy in
Oh,
the 1950s,
what?
and then he became famous in his 80s, like late 80s.
Yeah.
He's not, he would if he were still alive, he'd be 94 right now. He's the same age as my dad, and he was from Detroit,
Detroit.
and he was married. A lot of people he
Defiant.
had sort of a not married style about him, but
Mm-hmm.
he actually was married a long time to a second wife,
Oh.
and he was married to the famous actress Nina Foch, and
Mm-hmm.
he was a Jewish guy from Detroit, and he actually said that Detroit, when he was growing up, was the roughest place for a Jew during the 1930s and 40s.
Oh.
They had Father Coughlin, the anti-Semite
Oh.
announcer.
Uh-huh.
Um, and also you had Henry Ford. You had
Yes.
and a lot of Jewish anti-Jewish propaganda, and then you also had the famous baseball player Hank Greenberg of the Detroit Tigers, which
Hmm.
actually was made Detroit a more open-minded place as a result. I mean, he was a famous ball player, but he was a home run hitter, and he
Hmm.
won a couple of World Series for the Detroit
Yes.
Tigers. Yeah. So sports is so important.
Mhm.
At sports, it's weird how we were talking earlier
Yeah,
before
early
this
about. Mhm.
that I mean, I don't want to go into it so much, but a lot of the sports heroes today
Mhm.
are the ones that are almost carrying the heavy water
Mhm.
for all that political is going on, and that's
Yeah.
not a new thing
No.
because Jackie Robinson was the first to
Yes.
break the color barrier
Barry.
in
Uh-huh.
baseball and stuff. So it's you never think it's gonna where it's gonna come from, where this changing of minds happen,
Yeah.
and a lot of it happens through sports.
That's true. That's true. Sports usually is the front leader or the headway to changing society. So,
Doesn't seem like it, but people will put up with stuff because, especially if your team is winning. The another one
uh,
was about sports. Yeah, like integration happened in
mhm.
sports
Happen in
in
sports
baseball before it
before.
happened in the rest
Uh-huh.
of the country.
That's right.
And even in places you don't think is going to happen, like for example, was it George Bush actually picked Jack Kemp in his cabinet as the Secretary of HUD? I think
Uh-huh.
oh, who's the Ben Carson
Ben
is
Carson,
the
yeah.
guy who does it now.
Yes,
They
uh-huh.
usually pick a person who has a affinity with HUD, House of Urban
Development.
Urban Development, and Jack Kemp was picked because he was
Uh,
a good senator from Buffalo, but he was
mhm.
also with the Buffalo Bills, and he
Yes.
was and they realized that even if you're a white guy or a black guy, you're going to probably learn in a sporting event, and especially in football,
Mhm.
how to get along, and nobody
Uh-huh.
really cares what color you are in sports as long as
As long
win.
as you win.
Didn't used to be that way,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
so yeah, so you've been keeping up with sports
I
lately?
have been.
It's back.
It's back. And, I mean, they were gone for a little while. Then it's like, what the heck? Where'd all my sports go? And now they're back. And the NBA is full steam ahead. The NHL, couple surprises. The
Hmm.
New York Islanders, they're
There you are.
at the time we're taping, leading Philadelphia Flyers 3 games to 2,
Hmm.
which Philadelphia's in the top seed in the
Hmm.
East.
Hmm.
I still say Las Vegas is probably going to win it this year. The
Las
Lakers going to win
Vegas,
Las
yeah.
Vegas, but
A
it's
lot of
either
ice there.
lot of ice, lot of ice.
In the cocktails
Yeah,
at the slot machine.
it's either going to be them or maybe the New York Islanders might sneak in and win it. Who knows?
Dennis Potvin. Yeah,
Hot
he's my
back,
favorite. He's my favorite
yes.
New York Islander. Like
Pop
30, 40 years ago.
Van.
He was
Yeah,
good.
he was very good.
Yeah,
4 straight Stanley
yeah.
Cups.
I know.
Golly.
I like all the New York teams, and
Mhm.
I'm a New York Rangers fan. And then all of a sudden, the New York Islanders come and win all these Stanley Cups that the
Yeah,
Rangers couldn't do since
Jack.
1940. They won once since then, and that was a cause for celebration.
Yes.
And
I mean, the
they
whole.
beat the Canucks.
You
Yeah,
have to beat the Canucks,
four to
which,
three. I mean, 4 games. I mean, it was actually went
yeah,
down to the seventh
7 game.
game, and it looked like the Rangers weren't going to win.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question,
Yeah. Yes.
and I bet some people out there will know. The last Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup. You know which team was that?
Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup. Edmonton,
No,
Calgary,
no.
um, Vancouver, not Vancouver.
Vancouver never won.
I don't think it ever went to
But I'll let you know who it is.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal.
Well, they
Montreal.
had a good run in the 70s, I think.
Yes,
Yeah,
the last
they were
cup
winning a
they
lot,
won,
if I
I believe,
remember.
was 1993,
Yeah.
and that was the last Canadian team ever to win. and Canada hasn't won the Stanley Cup since.
I was thinking about ice hockey, and almost at least when I was growing up, they were almost always from Canada, the
Yes.
players.
Uh
So when they came to America to perform on the ice, I always
huh.
felt it was almost like an exhibition,
Uh-huh.
because here were these we were inviting these people from another country to
Yeah.
perform for us,
Uh huh.
and no one basically in America ever had aspirations to become a hockey. They like to watch it,
Yeah.
but you could be a football player, you could be a baseball
Yeah.
player, basketball player. You couldn't be a hockey player.
No, he couldn't be a hockey player. It's
Then
so hard.
eventually, then eventually, there's a lot of American players.
Yes, there are a lot of American players now that are hockey players. But basketball, everybody says the Lakers are going to win. Hopefully not. That's just me.
Really.
Uh, I still say the Milwaukee Bucks, even though they're having a rough time in the playoffs right now. I don't know who's going to win it, but probably be the Lakers.
When I first got involved in basketball, this shows you how old I. When I first got involved in basketball, the Milwaukee Bucks were the team. Oscar Robertson and
Oscar Robertson.
Lou Alcindor.
Lou Alcindor. Kareem.
And I eventually made a movie with Lou Alcindor. It was it was here in Richmond with
Uh-huh.
James Earl Jones. There's a picture on YouTube, not on YouTube, on
Oh.
my Facebook. I'll probably put it on here.
Uh-huh.
But there's a picture of me and Kareem.
Uh-huh.
He was retired at that point, though. He wasn't playing anymore.
Oh man.
So about 20 years ago,
Uh-huh.
Kareem's. I always hear Kareem's a sick man, but he seems to still.
He's
I
doing
see
all
him on
right to
talk
me.
shows and everything.
Yeah.
I mean, he might not look so hot, but he's still smart. That's
Still
all.
smart guy, yeah.
Who cares what you look like
I
when you get
know.
old?
As long as you got
As long as you have your smarts.
smarts and money.
Well, it's a lot of people. They have money. They have money.
Uh,
They it buys them good health
yeah.
to get the smart. But at the same time, you don't really want to be really sick and have a lot of money. Like for
No.
example, like Christopher Reeve, for example. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
I didn't envy him at all. I don't care how many $millions he had. Christopher Reeve, what
Yes.
I was in a play. I played Scrooge, and the
Uh,
famous line in Scrooge in A Christmas Carol is, "Congratulations, Scrooge! You're the richest man in the cemetery." What good is that?
I know.
So,
Oh
getting
wow.
back to the hockey. So they
Yes.
would come here and do these, um, and then I always got the idea that they play for the Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, New
Mm-hmm.
York Rangers, um, and you would think that every player in hockey would rather play for Toronto Maple
Mm-hmm.
Leafs or Montreal Canadiens, because that was probably the teams they rooted for when they
Oh
were
yeah,
kids.
when they were kids, you got a lot of Canadian kids
They
who roots for these
didn't
teams.
root for the
No,
Chicago Blackhawks,
no,
but
or
they
the
played for
oh
them.
yeah, they'll play for them to give them enough money.
That's just it. I went to a. Oh, I gotta tell you, this
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
I gotta tell you something. I went to a in the day. We had a minor league team, the Richmond Robins,
Yes.
and all, we were just big sports fans. My
Mm-hmm.
friends and I. We're all about like 13, 14 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and we go and I go to. There was a guy that was out for the season. I think he had a broken jaw. I remember his name
Oh.
was Larry Keener, and he
Mm-hmm.
used to play in the big leagues for the Flyers, and he played
Uh-huh.
for the St. Louis Blues. So he
Ooh.
was sitting in the audience watching the game, because these guys usually do go to the games while they're on the injured list,
Uh-huh.
waiting to get better. So someone said, "Hey, there's Larry Keener over there. Why don't you ask for his autograph?" I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." So I
Uh-huh.
went over there and started talking to him. He
Uh-huh.
was wearing now the Robins wasn't the was a Philadelphia Flyers
Affiliate.
farm team, yeah.
Okay.
But 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 he was wearing a blue blazer that had the logo of the St. Louis Blues,
What?
that a team he used to play for. So I said
Yeah.
to him, I assumed he would wear a Flyers type of
Right.
thing, or a Richmond Robins type of thing,
Uh-huh.
not something a competing team, a
Yeah.
competitor. So then I said to him, "Why are you wearing that jacket?" I was being a smart aleck, and he
Uh,
said, "Oh, I used to play for them. Yeah, they're a good team." And then wait a minute. The bigger question was at that
uh,
point is that players don't really care what team they play for, as long as they play for a team.
right.
And all the teams are kind of all together. It's a fraternity. You
Okay.
fire a coach on one team, they
Uh-huh.
hire him on another team,
Yeah.
and it goes on from there. You trade a player, and he comes home,
Uh-huh.
and he goes back to and no one really. And then I realized that while you and me
Uh-huh.
are diehard,
Yes.
Orioles fans
Yes.
or New York Rangers fans, the players
They
are
don't
less loyal to
care.
the team than you are.
They don't
Yeah, that's why he was
care.
wearing a St. Louis Blues
Yeah.
coat because he
Yeah.
could have been wearing any team. The Chicago Blackhawks for all he cared.
Yeah. Well, I tell you one thing. Hockey has grown a bit here in America, but it's still way down in the low percentage points when it comes to viewership and popularity because I think leadership from Gary, even though it's Bettman, I call it Gary Buttman, he is not doing a good job progressing the sport. And when you hear ESPN and other national,
Gary Bettman does remind everyone what he does.
oh, Gary Bettman is the commissioner.
Commissioner of hockey.
Yeah,
Okay.
commissioner of
I
the
didn't. Yeah.
National Hockey League.
Yeah.
He does not promote the sport. All he wants to do is just simply get a positive buck. And he should be using that towards promoting the sport, promoting it to inner city kids, promoting it to outer city kids, promoting it to everybody. So everybody can come watch a hockey game and say, hey, this sounds like a good sport here. I'm going to watch hockey.
Let me tell you, hockey is like when you watch it on television. And I think there's always been the problem. Hockey is not a very good television sport. It goes by too
Yeah,
fast. You can't
it
find the puck.
does.
It's a little comma that goes up and down the. When you're at the first time I went to an ice hockey game,
Mhm,
I couldn't believe this is the most exciting thing I ever saw.
mhm.
I still get goose pimples
Yeah.
thinking about how wonderful it was, and that I think the day I must have been like 12 years old, went to a ice hockey game in
Uh-huh.
Richmond. I thought that was like the greatest day of my life.
Oh,
I
heck
can't
yeah.
imagine. I mean, people say, "Well, what's the greatest day of your life?" I said, I was so happy watching this game, watching this match, and it's just right in front. You can't believe how
Yeah, you
vast it
can't
is.
believe it.
Yeah,
Well, have you ever been to the Renegades games?
yeah. I've
Okay.
been all. I mean,
Eh,
I've been to every Richmond team: the Rifles, the Wildcats, the Renegades, the Robins, the I can't think of
River
the other one.
Dogs.
The River Dogs. I've been to
Yeah.
all of them,
Yeah.
and I was rooting for all of them.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, when I was
And I've been to big league games
big league,
too.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, a ton of big league games for me, but I actually liked the Hampton Road Admirals
yeah,
when they were facing the Richmond Renegades during the 90s
yeah,
and stuff. You know, those folks down there were crazy.
yeah.
In the 90s,
This is in Norfolk,
this is in
in
Norfolk.
Hampton. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, they have a different style of cheering and stuff,
Yeah, I
rooting for the
mean,
team.
the Admirals from I believe it was 92 to actually 91 all the way up to like 97.
Yeah. Mm.
You couldn't get a ticket.
Oh
It was
wow,
sold out
sold out.
every game. They fill out the scope. 9,000 people are inside the
Yeah,
scope for every game. They had that much of a following.
yeah,
And when Richmond came into town, oh, it's almost like having the Chicago Blackhawks and the Detroit Red
yeah,
Wings. They'll always be fighting, or Vancouver and
yeah.
or Calgary and Edmonton
Yeah.
fighting. But it was really
I,
cool.
I
Good times.
I remember going to Norfolk to see the Tidewater Tides baseball
Oh
team, and I remember
yes.
going. I didn't go there for a hockey game, but I remember that team that would come to Richmond. I'd see those games,
Hmm.
and what was neat was there was so you're right. There was so many people from there. They're really good
Hmm.
fans there. In
They
fact,
are.
those I don't know about Hampton Admirals, but the Tidewater team still has their team, while Richmond has
Yes.
lost their hockey team and their
Oh,
and their famous Richmond team, the Braves.
oh,
Yeah,
golly, don't get me started on that.
yeah,
What is wrong with Richmond? I mean, Norfolk, yeah, they still got the Norfolk Admirals, which they were the Hampton Road Admirals,
yeah.
the Norfolk Tides, which was the
I
Tidewater
know.
Tides you're
Yeah.
talking about. I think they have one more sport. No, they don't. They don't.
Richmond is a limited sports town.
It is.
I don't know when we really support a team. Maybe when they're winning, we might. But
Yeah.
but I know there are certain like cities like Cincinnati's not all that much bigger than Richmond,
No,
and
it's not.
Cincinnati is like the greatest sports town probably for its size anywhere.
Yeah.
They have almost all four, uh, not all, maybe they certainly have baseball and
They
football.
got baseball, football, and soccer now. That's
Soccer,
it.
okay.
Yeah. They got a
Yeah,
major league soccer team.
but they do very well with their, the Red Stockings
The Red
and the Bengals
Stockings and the
and the Bengals
Bungles.
and the Bungles.
The Bungles. But you're right.
My brother-in-law's from that area. He's
Mhm.
big. He loves all the Cincinnati
Well,
teams.
if you live in
Yeah,
Ohio,
Boomer,
Boomer.
Johnny Bench,
Yes, but Pete Rose.
Pete Rose.
But if you live in
Honey,
Ohio,
I Bet the Kids. New movie with Pete Rose.
you're in one of the sports meccas if you're in Ohio because you have Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus.
Yeah.
Which now Columbus has actually two professional sports
What
franchises.
do they have?
They got the Columbus Blue Jackets of the National Hockey League
Okay.
and the Columbus Crew of the Major League Soccer.
Okay.
So
I didn't.
yeah.
I can't keep up with all the base hockey teams.
Uh,
My dad grew up at a time when there was only 6 hockey teams.
yes,
And they're still there.
and it's still there. Yeah.
Toronto, Montreal, New York Rangers, Boston Bruins, Chicago Blackhawks, Detroit Red Wings. That's
Yeah,
6.
that's 6.
Now listen to this. There's 6. That means there was never more than 3 games playing a night,
Yep.
and yet they only had like 3 referees
Yeah.
that moved around to all the games because all you needed were 3 referees. And then I think in 1968 they got another 6 teams.
Yes,
I
they
think for
did.
the most part they're still there too.
Yes.
And
Except for the California Golden Seals.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was I think that team was owned by Charles O. Finley,
It was.
who famously was the jerk who owned the A's.
Oh,
I have a friend, Gorgeous George. He loves
oh yeah.
he loves the Cowboys, and he talks glowingly about Jerry Jones.
I don't know why.
Well, that's the point. I even tell him why, which is nice but almost every fan has an animosity and an abrasion to the team's owner because they always feel if I were owning the team, this is how I would do things differently. So the idea that anyone would love, I don't know a Yankee fan that loved George Steinbrenner. I mean, if they're winning, it's like, oh, he's done right, done something good. But certainly when they're losing, they say,
Oh, yeah.
what a jerk.
Yeah, what a jerk. Well, trust me, George.
Dan Snyder,
Dan Snyder.
all these owners.
Trust me. If George owned the Cowboys, he'd probably be betting them away. It's like I'll put my whole franchise on number 15 on the roulette wheel.
Well, we were talking about that last show we did about gambling. You should never gamble on a team you have an interest in.
That's right.
Because that you should be like the guy who fixed the World Series.
That's me.
in 1919. He Arnold Rothstein. He said, I don't care what team wins as long as I fixed it that the White Sox lost. I think it was
it was Cincinnati.
Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah,
We're just talking about Cincinnati.
yeah.
So there's always that animosity with the owner of a team and the fans. And it's always been that way with Yankees.
Yes.
And usually, and then the Clippers had that crazy owner
crazy
that had to
owner.
give up the team. And
Goodness.
Charles O. Finley was probably in my day was like the worst. He built up this great team,
Yeah.
Oakland A's, and almost as soon as they won their first World Series, he was treated the players so bad, and I think free agency actually kind of snuck in at that point that almost all of them left. Reggie Jackson, Catfish Hunter, all of them. I mean, I don't know any of them that actually that was any good that actually stayed with the Oakland A's. But they were the most famous.
He's Steinbrenner before Steinbrenner came.
I think Steinbrenner was there, but the Yankees were like a fourth place team.
Yeah.
So no one paid any attention. It wasn't until I think he got Catfish Hunter and Reggie
Yeah,
Jackson
yeah.
that he became the star, and Billy Martin and all of them. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I try not to bet on any sports. I don't usually win at betting anyway. But we know some people who do bet, and we know one person who likes to bet a lot.
Yeah.
That poor guy should
Yeah.
stop betting.
Well, he should, yeah. But I mean, that's right.
That's right. But anyway, I will say this.
When you bet, you should always win.
That's right. If you bet,
Let
you
me
should
tell you
always
something.
win.
No, let me tell you something. When I buy, I'll tell you how I live my life about gambling.
Uh-huh.
I buy a lottery ticket.
Uh-huh.
I always think I'm going to win $1 million.
That's right.
I I open a clamshell, an oyster. I always think I'm going to get a pearl.
Yep.
Okay, I've never won $1 million though. I've never gotten a pearl. However, every time I get in a plane, I think the plane's going to crash. Guess what? I've never been in a plane crash. So all in all, I consider myself a lucky man. Odds are in my favor, and everything's worked out great. So,
Well,
so
and tell you what, speaking of sports, I talked to a guy not too long ago. He was asking me, what is your favorite sports memory? And I told him I have too many to count. But I did give him one favorite sports memory.
mhm.
What is one of yours?
Well, like I said, the first time I saw a first time I saw that hockey game, it was
Mm-hmm.
basically one of the first times I ever saw a sport. I was one of those guys that was really into watching it on television, watching sports
Mm-hmm.
reports and collecting cards, baseball cards and stuff. So I really loved like the whole statistics and minutia about it all. But
Mm-hmm.
then when I actually saw a game after all that preparation, I was
Right.
so excited. Now, I've been like thrown, maybe when I was very young, thrown in a sporting event, like a football game, and I didn't really know what was going on. I mean, let's face it, the first time you see a football game,
Yeah.
and a lot of European people have this problem. They say, why
Mm-hmm.
do Americans like American football so bad and so much? And what happens is, if you're just watching it and not knowing you just see guys
Mm-hmm.
just running into
Run
each other.
into each other.
You have to have basically you have to have someone there explaining to you what's
Yes.
going on. But once
Yes.
you figure that out, you're good. But sporting events, I haven't seen any great sporting events like a play. I've seen playoff games, but I don't really
Uh-huh.
remember them that well. Because usually what happens is my team in the playoffs, the games I've been to, they didn't win, so I try to block it from my mind. Oh, that was a great day, but they lost.
Yeah, what they lost.
No, it's usually a great. It could have been a better day.
Yeah, yeah. Well, believe it or not, one of my favorite sports memories I seen live was when my father took me to Baltimore, and we went to see the Orioles versus the Texas Rangers. I don't remember the year, but it was the very last year that Nolan Ryan pitched, and I got a
Ah,
chance to see him start
oh yeah,
as a pitcher.
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I've seen two great players perform in sports. I saw. I've seen lots of like quarterbacks
Uh
on
huh.
teams, but I've been to a few like Redskin home games and a few New York Giants away
Hmm.
games. I'm a New York Giants fan. But I was in Toronto and to see the
Oh.
Blue Jays, and they're playing the Yankees, and I happened to see just by coincidence
Uh
that
huh.
night in the rotation. I didn't plan this. Oh, Roger Clemens is pitching, so I got to see Roger
What?
Clemens
Oh,
pitch. One of the
nice.
300 games he won. He didn't
Nice.
win that game, and then a few years before, I was in Los Angeles, and I
Uh-huh.
went to a Los Angeles Kings game, and
Mhm.
the great Gretzky was playing. Wayne Gretzky. Now listen to this.
Oh.
The only thing I saw Wayne do
Uh-huh.
was like with 30 seconds left in the game, he scored a goal, one of his many in an empty when they take the goalie out. That goal goes to Wayne Gretzky, like he doesn't have enough of these.
I know.
And it's of course usually when your team hits a goal into an empty net, they've already won that
Oh
game
yeah,
already. So
they've already
it's just a
won.
last ditch thing. So the Kings have pretty much won that
Icing
game
on the
before that.
cake.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I was lucky enough college wise to see the Big Ten tournament. No, the Big Ten tournament and the Big Ten college football championship game.
Oh
I
yeah.
got a chance to see both of those twice.
Oh wow.
So that was
Yeah,
really
I
nice.
love I love I'm an alumnus of the University of Virginia,
Yes.
and so anytime I get free tickets my way, I try to
Oh
go.
heck yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have
Yes.
look. You can't. There's my my UVA tie. I have a lot of them, but this is one of my favorite ones because it has all the logos of UVA. And the reason why I bring this up,
Mhm.
just I just read this today in the alumni magazine,
Uh-huh.
is that they changed their logos. I didn't realize
Yes.
this, that teams change their college teams change their logos all the time. They they
Mhm.
they don't really change it in a big way,
No.
but if they do change them in a big way, they
Mhm.
get like this, like what their helmets look like and stuff. Then it rains out, and they actually what happened in April, and by
Uh-huh.
June they had changed it back UVA to the old logos.
Ah.
And one of the reasons was if you know anything about their logo, they used to have a cavalier, a guy with a
Oh
feather in his
yes.
cap and
Yes.
stuff, and his face.
Yes.
Well, they had this new logo where he just had his head down and no face. They said, "What? What's the deal on this?" And there was actually a light blue streak in the hat. They said, "Well, that's North Carolina's is Carolina blue."
Yeah.
What are we doing that? We wear blue and orange, royal blue and orange. The other thing was, and this is very serious,
Uh-huh.
they were honoring. Oh, this I did not know, and I don't think the people who made this logo knew this.
Uh-huh.
They usually have, like I saw, you probably saw this. There's swords,
Yes, the swords, the
swords,
sabers.
sabers that are crossed, and it looks in a V, and
Mhm.
that's basically all logos have had that variation of that
Mhm.
somewhere in there. So what happened was they changed the hand. Now this doesn't sound like a big deal, but it was a big deal.
Uh-huh.
They changed the handles of them.
Mhm.
Instead of being a plain handle, they changed to look like the walls around the University of Virginia, which they thought was good honoring the thing. Well, they found out
Oh.
those walls were because it's an old college from the 1820s
Mhm.
that it started 1823, that they actually were where the slaves were. And
Ooh.
UVA up until like 1968, 69 did not have women or black people. It was
What?
all white men. So
What?
they thought this was, and in this time period where they're tearing down Confederate statues and everything, the idea that a team would a college team would actually put something honoring, not honoring, but I don't think they even knew what they were doing. They just
I
said,
don't
"Oh,
think
the
so
walls are
either.
nice," because actually those walls are kind of picturesque. They're
Uh-huh.
kind of like a wave, an S. But by putting them on there, they said, they're not going to tear down the walls, but they're not going to honor them in their logos
Oh
either.
no, 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 no.
So they had to do that. And
Okay.
the other thing about look, they couldn't understand why is UVA changing their logo, because
Right.
last year they got all this acclaim
Uh-huh.
for winning the NCAA basketball
Basketball,
tournament.
yeah.
So you don't change what people liked about you in the first place
Yeah.
after you've won them over. When the attention dips. That's in fact every
Yeah.
time a team, the Buccaneers, all these teams have changed their logo
Yes.
is when they're not doing too
They're trying to get new fans. They're trying
yeah.
to get the fans to come back. But I was shocked that UVA. Well, I hate to say it, I'm more of a Virginia Tech fan, but I like UVA
My sister
too.
went to
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm just mad at Virginia because I can't get
You're in
in.
Virginia.
But anyway, I'm surprised they don't use the state silhouette as their number
Yeah,
one symbol for UVA.
yeah,
They used to have it on the basketball floor,
yeah.
but
They that um we think of the Virginia state topography, or whatever cartography, I should say, the shape of it
yes.
is. But every state you go to, Utah or you go to
Mhm.
Illinois, they have the same sort of.
Oh,
Oh, look how beautiful our shape
yeah.
is.
Oh, University of Illinois got a really big one
Yeah,
on their football field and on their basketball floor.
yeah,
It looks really nice.
yeah. Well,
It,
it's impressed. I'm one of those people kind of like the way shapes are an
me
American in
too.
the American tapestry. I had a map of America, not a puzzle of America. It was
Uh-huh.
in the map, and every piece was a state, including the small states up in New England.
Oh, as long as you didn't lose those,
Yeah,
you know.
I
It's like,
think if I remember right, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and New Hampshire
uh-huh,
and Vermont
uh-huh.
were all one big piece. So he didn't lose the little bitty pieces.
Oh no, where did Massachusetts go? I'm sorry to everybody in Massachusetts. I lost your piece.
Oh, Texas was easy.
Yeah, Texas was really easy and
Just
everything.
big flop right there. Now, I and so yeah, so I uh, so yeah, so you want so you never change like the logos
No, we
when
try
it
not
comes.
to.
Yeah, yeah. Do you have any idea the Washington Redskins helmets? What are they gonna look like?
Um, the Indian head. They now got the big old W on the side of their
Okay.
helmets, which is, I guess, good enough.
They had a
And
big R once.
they did. That was
When I
back in
first
the
got into football, that's what their
yeah.
helmet looked
That
like.
was the 50s, 60s original logo. Then they used it again in the 90s, I believe.
They had
And
an
a few
what's
years
that? A
ago,
spear or
yeah,
something?
spear.
I
Like
remember
the
that.
Florida State spear.
Yeah. I gotta tell you something funny.
Uh-huh.
They were trying these innovative things about uniforms and colors and everything. Uh, in I think starting in the 80s and 90s, they would have these retro days where the
Mm-hmm.
where all the football teams would wear their old uniforms or old style uniforms.
Yeah.
And the Redskins would wear their like the spear or the
Yeah.
R on the side, and so the Dallas Cowboys would wear that white star
That
or something.
star, whatever
Yeah,
that
not the
thing
blue star.
is.
But the craziest thing was there were like five teams:
Uh-huh.
the Cleveland Browns, the Green Bay Packers, the
Mm-hmm.
Chicago Bears,
Mm-hmm.
and the New York Giants, and maybe some team I can't think of. Those uniforms look pretty much the same. They didn't look any different. And it's true.
It is true. You're
Green
right.
Bay, I mean, you look at the Super Bowl, the first two Super Bowls with
Yeah.
Bart Starr, the Green Bay Packers are still wearing the same costume. New York Giants haven't changed. Chicago Bears haven't changed.
Yeah. The
Cleveland Browns,
Browns,
Cleveland Browns have that plain brown
brown,
helmet.
brown.
They
Yeah.
actually, like every few years, the ownership, Paul Brown or whoever owns the team now, or then, they would put it to the fans. You want something on the helmet? And they say, no, we like it the way it is. We like it plain. All that
Plain.
nonsense that all the other teams
Yeah.
do.
Save money. Plain helmet. But yeah, I mean,
I used
football.
I used to have these baseball cards.
Oh,
No, football cards.
football
No,
cards.
baseball
Okay.
cards are fine. Baseball cards, you actually saw the uniform and everything.
Okay.
Now the football uniforms, like for example, if you saw like a Redskin player like Larry Brown or Kilmer or someone,
Mm-hmm.
they would actually black out the helmet and make it all red, or
Oh, yes, yes, yes,
or
yes,
Roger Staubach make it all silver,
yes.
and you wouldn't see the logo. And I
Right.
thought that was kind of strange. And I
Yeah.
found out that the company that made them, the Topps company,
Mm-hmm.
were too cheap to actually pay for the licensing to make them, so it was easier just to black them out. It's weird. I don't think they do that now, but they
Oh,
because
oh,
now merchandising is so important.
yes.
I mean, if you wanted to buy a hat with your favorite team on it,
Uh-huh.
you actually had to go to the ballpark and pay the
Yes.
expensive retail. You couldn't just order it,
Yeah.
through Amazon. Now you can get anything you want.
Uh,
I thought it was really weird. I watched the Super Bowl a few years ago
okay.
where when you saw the coaches on the sidelines, they wear these really weird. They still do sweatshirts and hats and
Mm-hmm.
with the logos of the team on it. And I said, "Well, why are they wearing that?" And they're paid to wear that, or
Yes.
they're expected to wear that.
Yes.
They're company people. When they actually show them, the Super Bowl, they always show, and here he is arriving at the gate, whoever the coach was,
Uh-huh.
and he'd be wearing a suit and tie.
Yeah.
He wasn't wearing that colorful
No, he
nonsense
wasn't
on
wearing
they
all
wear
that
on the field.
mess.
They were all dressed when they were getting there, like Tom Landry used to look
Mm-hmm.
like. Can you
Yeah.
imagine Tom Landry wearing some cockamamie outfit with stars all over it and
That would be
glitter all over it?
so
No,
funny.
I like the way Tom Landry
Yeah.
dressed.
I think that's the only thing I liked about the man. He dressed all
Yeah, he dressed like a
right.
civilized human being. And the coach should look different.
Yes.
Baseball is the only sport where the manager wears the same uniform that the players wear.
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
They
You're
look like
right.
old ball players.
Sounds like cheap Comiskey back in
Yeah,
the 1919 World Series.
yeah.
Got a bunch of cheap owners these days.
That's
But
yeah. Well,
yeah.
that I mentioned earlier. That's was the sort of the fertile ground that they were able to fix it because Comiskey was treating the players so rottenly.
So rotten.
You ever see the movie Eight Men Out?
Yes, I love that movie. Love
Yeah,
that
isn't that a good movie? John
Great
Sayles.
movie.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I like that movie so much. I must have watched it at least 10, 11
Yeah.
times. But another movie that I really like, we'll switch to movies real quick,
Yeah.
is Major League.
Oh, that good?
Yeah, I love Major League.
Charlie Sheen.
Charlie
I think he's in
Sheen.
both films.
He is. He is in both films. And I liked it when in one of the scenes when I forgot the guy's name is drinking Joe Boo's drink, and then he drunk this rum. Then he's going out there and says, "Yo, bartender, Joe Boo needs a refill." And then he got hit in the back. Yeah, but yeah, Wesley Snipes was in it.
Yeah.
Too bad he couldn't be in the second one because I think he had an obligation to do a movie,
Oh.
some crappy movie, but he wanted to do the second one.
I thought he was. I thought he was in the big house for not paying his taxes. That's probably the real reason.
Yeah, that movie came later.
But there's. I haven't seen a movie in a theater.
Hmm.
Like I mentioned, I haven't seen a movie in a theater like 5 months.
It's been 6 months for me.
5 or 6. I mean, since they were closed,
Yeah.
and they're opening up now.
Yes, finally.
Yeah.
But who's willing to
I don't even know
go?
what's. I think there. I see some ads. There's a movie
Oh,
with Bill and Ted and.
yeah, Bill and Ted, I
yeah.
think is going to be pretty good. 42 is going to open up.
Wait, that's already played. I saw that the first time with the Chad who died.
Yeah,
sadly.
poor Chad,
Yeah.
Chad, yeah.
I think that movie 42 is so good, and about Jackie Robinson, and it actually I think is the best performance I've ever seen of Harrison Ford, who people tend to like, but I don't think Star Wars and Indiana Jones, all those movies really showcase how good an actor he can be. In that one,
Yeah.
he's Branch Rickey. He's very good.
Oh, he is.
And
very good.
in fact, he doesn't even. In fact, he actually plays him. He actually plays an old man in it, and Harrison Ford is not as old. I mean, is a young man for his age, but in
Yeah.
real life, he's actually in his 70s, older than
Older.
Branch Rickey
Yeah.
was in the day. So he's pretending to be older, but in real life, he was older than the guy
the
who
guy
played.
who played.
Yeah.
You know, an underrated baseball movie, even though people say it's not a baseball movie.
Yeah.
But I love Police Squad from the Naked Gun.
Baseball. Oh, at the end where they're
Yeah, at the end.
where the Angels I think were playing.
Yeah, the Angels were playing the Mariners.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this when I was a teenager.
That's
and
very funny.
I was like in the high little leagues at the
Yeah.
time. And you just see all the messed up things that was going on. I must have busted out my gut so many times during the baseball scene. It was so
Yeah.
fun. It's like when the Angels pitcher is throwing the ball and Frank Drebin is calling the third strike before
Oh,
the
yeah.
ball even gets to the catcher's mound.
What has to do with trying to find the bad guy.
Yeah, they're trying to find the bad guy.
I remember he sings the national anthem.
Yeah, he sings the
And
national anthem.
He's
Rico Polacco.
He's also the umpire.
He's also the umpire.
But I remember two things I remember very funny about that. Was, when I was seeing it in the theater was the Queen cave. I think it was Assassination Queen.
Yes.
And as soon as she went to the box, there's already two guys already sitting there. And your tickets, go. And I've been kicked out of so many front boxes at ball games. Always remember when I go to the theater, when I go to a ball game, that number on the ticket, to me, it's a suggestion. If the second part of the game, if no one's still sitting in that seat, I'm making my way up there. That is if I'm by myself. I'm with somebody. I'm kind of stuck. I'm kind of stuck in the nosebleed seats. The other thing about that was very funny. The Angels, and I don't remember any of the actors. All the actors. I said, in those days, I really knew my sports, and that doesn't look like the Angels. They're all actors playing Angels. And then they finally find out who the mole is. And I said, and I actually thought this like almost as soon as I thought this, it came up and said, "Oh wait, doesn't Reggie Jackson play for the Angels? He should be in this movie." And of course, the guy was Reggie Jackson. And that was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah, I must kill the spoof of Telephone.
Oh, that's so
Where they have all these sleeper cells in America. They were supposed to brainwashed him.
Yes, yes.
The kid. Silly story.
Well, one of my favorite parts in the movie before we go out
Mhm.
is not the baseball scene, but this is when Frank is trying to get information and he's at the docks.
Yeah.
So he's trying to get information on his partner who was almost snubbed out by these drug kingpins.
Yeah.
So he goes to the harbor master and he says, "Did you see anything?" He's like, "No, I didn't see anything." "Are you sure you didn't see anything?" It's like, "Oh no, maybe you might refresh my memory." It's like then he shows him a 20. It's like maybe this might refresh your memory. It's like, oh, maybe I might have seen something. Well, you seen something now with another 20? And it's like, yeah, I think I know I've seen some stuff. You know, that guy was dirty. It's like, then Frank says, "How do you know that guy was dirty?" It's like, I saw he was doing some dirty stuff. It's like, can you elaborate on that? It's like, oh no. It's like, can you give me some more information? It's like, well, here's some 20, Frank. It's like, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, maybe he was a dirty guy. It's like, how about another 20, Frank? It's like, he takes the $40 back from the witness. That was so funny.
And that movie is funny all the way through.
Yes.
And Zuckerberg also made airplanes.
Yes. Yes.
And who was that partner that was in trouble? Remember who played him?
O.J. Simpson.
O.J.
O.J.
Simpson.
Simpson.
I knew you were going to. It's O.J. Simpson, and it's the last time you ever see the good O.J.
Yes.
Simpson ever again. And I got to tell you something. I actually met OJ. I
Uh-huh.
was in Las Vegas at the Buster Douglas fight. I met a lot of big celebrities. I met Clint Eastwood and I met Tommy Lasorda. And they
Oh,
were all there. I didn't meet them
nice.
all, but I met a
Right.
lot of them. Ken Norton was very nice, the boxer.
Mhm.
Agassi, and OJ was there. This
Uh-huh.
was like 2 years before the murders,
Uh-huh.
and I met him, and he was very nice. He was very nice to me.
Yeah, see, I met a
Yeah,
few.
but this was
Yeah, this
before.
was
Yeah,
before all that stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I met a few stars. I was just happy to meet
Christy
Christiane Gucci.
Yamaguchi.
Yeah,
But
which I'll tell
how
more
many people
later.
did she murder?
Let's see.
No. There was a player when I was a kid who killed somebody, I think, in Mexico. His name was
Ooh.
Cesar Cedeno. He played the Houston Astros as a home run hitter. And he was
Oh.
such a valuable guy that for some reason he was able to pay like $100 fine to get out of Mexico and go back. And I
What?
always felt, how did that
How did
happen?
he do that? He must
And
have
I
had a
felt
good
there was
lawyer.
at that time I thought, man, there must be a different set of rules for ball players
Yeah,
than
I
for
think
the rest of
so.
us. Yeah.
Especially in Mexico.
OJ kind
Yeah.
of put an end
Oh,
to
yeah.
that, but the same rules. Even though I mean, he may have gotten off, but he did go through the trial
Yes, he
process and
did.
everything. So,
Trial process.
but they didn't make any more Naked Gun sequels with
No.
OJ and them. So, speaking of movies, this is what I wanted to make.
Yes.
This is a point I wanted to make is that I haven't seen a movie in like 6 months,
Mhm.
as you mentioned. It's
Yep.
probably 6 months, like you said.
Mhm.
And they're reopening movie theaters. They have all these different rules. You have to wear a
You
mask.
gotta wear a mask
You have
and
to sit 20 feet away from everybody and everything.
uh,
It's not a communal thing. It's almost like everyone individually is at the theater watching it by themselves.
yeah.
But anyway, there's a movie out. I don't
Mhm.
know really a whole lot about it, but I'm telling everybody about it. It's a Christopher Nolan film called Tenet, and it has
Oh.
John Washington, who is Denzel Washington's son, who was in Black Klansman. Now
Oh,
it's
okay, okay.
now Christopher Nolan makes these fantastic movies.
Uh-huh.
Like last one he made was Dunkirk. He made all the Batman movies with Christian Bale. He made Interstellar and he made Inception. And
Uh-huh.
this movie is more like those last two. They're halfway through it, you still don't know what's going on. But this movie has so many special effects, like a $200 million budget and all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
They're hoping that this movie is the movie that'll get people off the couch, out of their houses, and into the movie theaters to see
Oh.
movies again. It's like how in the 1919 scandal, white Black Sox scandal,
Mhm.
how Babe Ruth brought
Yes.
baseball back. They're
Yes.
thinking this movie is the Babe Ruth of movies to bring people back in the theater, so that so you'll see all the
Good
Police
luck.
Academy sequels and all the Naked Gun sequels, and
Yeah.
certainly all the superhero sequels
Oh
because
my
they're so
goodness.
expensive.
There's
Those
still
movies.
Batman sequels and stuff
Yeah.
coming. But yeah, Kevin, unfortunately, we've run out of time again.
I have nothing to say tonight.
You
I
sure?
just I just I'm all oh, but show's over. Oh,
Oh,
oh.
yes.
I thought I came here. Can you believe I had nothing to say of any importance tonight? And I was proven right.
And you were proven right. Let's bring on the next people in
Yeah.
here.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much, Kev. And my man, Kaye Lazar. I'm Vinny Mac. Once again, we want to thank all the people who are watching the show and leaving comments. Thank you so much for that. And if you want to annoy somebody, like we know somebody, you may do that too.
Also, this is like a special preview audience. We show this on Facebook first,
Yes,
and then in a maybe in 2 or 3 weeks we put it on YouTube for the whole world to see.
yes, the whole world to
So,
see.
so if you have any suggestion or anything, just let us know.
Yes.
Or if there's something you think we could talk about that would be
Hmm.
interesting, send us because we talk. What do we talk about? Sports,
Sports,
girlfriends,
travels,
and movies,
movies, yeah, women,
travel.
travel, other
What men
things.
like to talk about?
I know. Once again, this show was sponsored by Skunk Soap Remover. You want to get rid of all the skunks in your life? Rub them all out. You know exactly what to do with that. And our new sponsor, I forgot our new sponsor's name. Trim Fat.
Trim fat.
Trim Fat. Yes, use Trim Fat. It will definitely take care of it. It's just like Eddie Murphy when he said, I just lost 300 pounds in 30 seconds, which is basically what we done with our show.
That was the old joke. Woman said that. I know how to get. I know how you can get rid of 20 pounds of ugly fat. Cut off your head.
Well, trust me, I got another joke coming up next week or in 2 weeks, whenever we are back on the air. It's really funny.
Oh
But
yes.
yes, thank you once again for joining us. We appreciate it. And until next time, this is goodbye. We'll try to do better next time, everybody.
I think
Hopefully.
we. I think we did fine.
I think we did fine
And
too.
you were a delight. Thank
I
you.
was a
Thank
delight.
you.
Thank you. And you were a delight too.
Thank you.
Some people think that we are not a delight.
Uh,
But
well, well, the heck with.
that's
They
right.
should take a flying leap.
That's right. To that one person who don't think we're a delight. Screw you.
One person. Hey, if a million people like the show and one person doesn't like it, I'm not going to change the show. All right. Good night,
Good
everybody.
night. Bye bye.